Although some of the biggest releases on the Marvel horizon are far away from now, like the two-part multiverse saga conclusion Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, there's still plenty for fans to keep them occupied in 2025. From major film releases like Captain America Brave New World and the Fantastic Four First Steps, new Disney Plus series like Daredevil Born Again or Marvel Zombies, and plenty of new comics to choose from, there's more than enough media for Marvel maniacs to sink their teeth into. To make sure you don't miss any of it, here's a breakdown of everything we know is coming from Marvel in 2025.
Are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. I'm the Wolverine.
2024 was a smaller year for Marvel at the movies than usual, with Deadpool and Wolverine being the only MCU film released theatrically.
Suck it, Fox. I'm going to Disneyland.
There were other offerings from Sony Pictures like Venom: The Last Dance and Kraven the Hunter, but the MCU let the Merc with a Mouth carry the flag in theaters.
Let's give the people what they came for!
Deadpool and Wolverine.
That's all set to change in 2025 with 3 new films coming that are sure to shake up the MCU in big ways as the franchise rounds out Phase 5 and prepares to launch Phase 6.
You want me? Come and get me!
First up is Captain America Brave New World, releasing on February 14th. The 4th film in the Cap franchise and the first to star Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson in the title role, Brave New World is directed by Julius Ona and features Sam in an espionage thriller where he'll encounter President Hulk, or President Thaddeus Ross, now played by Harrison Ford, who will become the Red Hulk. The President Hulk, eventually. We also know that Giancarlo Esposito will be playing Sidewinder, the leader of the Serpent Society in the comics, and that Tim Blake Nelson will be reprising his role as the leader from 2008's The Incredible Hulk. Cast also includes Danny Ramirez's Joaquin Torres as the new Falcon, Carl Lumley as Isaiah Bradley, Shira Haas as Ruth Bat-Seraph, and Liv Tyler returning as Betty Ross.
We're okay.
Next is Thunderbolts. Yes, the asterisk is part of the title. Releasing on May 2nd, directed by Jake Schreier, this is a new franchise for the MCU, but will mostly feature characters fans are already familiar with. Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, David Harbour as Red Guardian, Wyatt Russell as John Walker, Hannah John Kamen as the Ghost, and Olga Kurylenko as Taskmaster will be forming a team under Julia Louis-Dreyfus's Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine. Louis Pullman is also reportedly set to make his MCU debut as the Sentry. And at least on paper, this appears to be a far cry from the original comic series premise of supervillains disguising themselves as superheroes, especially since Daniel Bruhl's Baron Zemo is seemingly nowhere to be seen. But we'll find out what the MCU's take on the Thunderbolts is soon enough.
We are the Thunderbolts!
Can't call ourselves that.
Thank God.
Thunderbolts. It's a cool name.
Lastly, Marvel fans everywhere will finally get to see the first family join the MCU when the Fantastic Four First Steps releases on July 25th. Directed by WandaVision alum Matt Shakman, this reboot of the Fantastic Four franchise sees the eponymous team in a 1960s retro-futurism-inspired world where they must confront the world-devouring space god known as Galactus. For the cast, we have Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as the Invisible Woman, Joseph Quinn as the Human Torch, Eben Moss-Backrack as the Thing, Ralph Ineson as Galactus, Julia Garner as Shala Bal, who will be the Silver Surfer in this version, and Natasha Lyonne in an undisclosed role. We're also getting an appearance from robot assistant Herbie and, hopefully, a tease or cameo of Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom.
New mask. Same task.
Outside the MCU, although Sony had multiple 2024 movies in their Spider-Man spin-off universe, we don't have any upcoming films with set release dates just yet.
This is so not fair.
But there might be a good reason for that. While Venom: The Last Dance did tease cosmic comic villain Null as a major figure going forward, we recently received a report that Sony might not have any interest in developing further live-action spin-offs, and want to focus instead on the upcoming 4th Spider-Man film set in the MCU from director Daniel Destin Cretton. As well, we're still in the dark as to when the 3rd film in the animated Spider-Verse trilogy, Beyond the Spider-Verse, will finally be released, but hopefully we get an update on that sooner rather than later.
You want in?
Marvel has a full slate of television series headed our way in 2025 in both animation and live action, so make sure you hold on to your Disney Plus subscription if you don't want to miss anything. First up is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, a new animated show premiering on January 29th. Set in an alternate timeline from the main MCU, it will feature Hudson Timms as a young Spider-Man who is mentored by Coleman Domingo as Norman Osborn. We don't know much about the story beyond that, but going by the concept art we've seen, it will feature a wide cast of Spider-Man friends and foes, as well as appearances from other Marvel Universe characters, such as Doctor Strange, Nico Minoru of The Runaways, and Charlie Cox reprising his role as Daredevil.
I'm Daredevil.
Speaking of Daredevil, Marvel fans don't have to wait long to see Cox return as the character in live action with Daredevil Born Again, premiering on March 4th. A continuation of the Daredevil Netflix series, this show will see the return of not just Cox as Matt Murdock, but also Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, Deborah Ann Woll as Karen Page, Eldon Hansen as Foggy Nelson, John Barenthal as the Punisher, Wilson Bethel as Bullseye, and Eilert Zurer as Fisk's wife Vanessa. We don't have too many story details about the series, especially since the show went through a creative overhaul midway through shooting, but reportedly it will feature Fisk running for mayor of New York. We also know that the series has already been renewed for a season 2. Next up is Ironheart, the spin-off series about Riri Williams set to premiere on June 24th. Set after the character's debut in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Dominique Thorne returns as Ironheart, who finds herself in a tech versus magic confrontation with Anthony Ramos as Parker Robbins, aka The Hood. This show was shot all the way back in 2022, so it's been a long time coming, but it looks like we're finally getting it in 2025. Also, spinning off of the Black Panther franchise is Eyes of Wakanda, a 4-episode miniseries about the Hatat Zores, an elite group of Wakandan warriors. That series will launch on August 6th. Rounding out the television front is another 4-episode animated miniseries, Marvel Zombies, and the live-action series Wonder Man. Marvel Zombies will premiere on October 3rd and takes place in the zombie reality depicted in the first season of What If. The series will feature many MCU cast members reprising their roles, such as Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, David Harbour as Red Guardian, Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Awkwafina as Katie Chen, Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop, and Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan. Wonder Man, set to premiere in December 2025, will star Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as Simon Williams, a superpowered actor who is a recurring member of the Avengers in the comics. Ben Kingsley will be returning as Trevor Slattery, the actor who played the fake Mandarin in Iron Man 3, and Demetrius Gross is set to play the Grim Reaper, Simon's villainous brother.
Sometimes I let matches burn down to my fingertips just to feel something, anything.
The one show that might premiere in 2025 and is also not coming from Marvel Studios is Spider Noir, the live-action Spider-Verse spin-off series from Sony Pictures Television. This series will feature Nicolas Cage reprising his role as Spider-Man Noir and is currently filming.
Hey, fellas.
It doesn't have a release date, but if the show is finished on time, it might be set up to premiere at some point in 2025 on MGM+. We might also see the second season of X-Men 97 since it's currently in production, but we don't know that for sure. Compared to the film and television slates, Marvel looks to have a thin year on the gaming front in 2025, barring any surprise reveals. Part of this is because, although several Marvel games have been announced, there have been few, if any, updates on them in the time since, so we don't know how far along they are. These include Motive Studios' Iron Man, Insomniac's Wolverine, Cliffhanger Games' Black Panther, and Arcane's Blade.
Night's just getting started.
We also know that we are not getting any story DLC for Spider-Man 2, so we'll have to wait and see when we get more news about Spider-Man 3. And the plans for the Venom spin-off game that we learned about from the Insomniac leak late in 2023. One game that is tentatively set to release in 2025 is Skydance New Media's Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. From producer and writer Amy Hennig of Uncharted fame, this single-player narrative-driven game will feature Captain America and the Azuri incarnation of Black Panther as playable characters, who have to work together to battle Hydra during World War II. This doesn't have a specific release date aside from its 2025 release window, so hopefully we learn something more concrete soon.
I don't have time for this. Neither do I.
As well, although NetEase's hero shooter Marvel Rivals is already available, as a live service game, it will be receiving regular seasonal content updates throughout 2025, including new heroes, maps, and costumes. As if Marvel's stacked lineup of 2025 movies and shows wasn't enough, they're also going big on the comic book front. Their big focus for much of the year will be One World Under Doom, a major crossover that explores what happens when Dr. Doom becomes the new Sorcerer Supreme and declares himself Emperor of the entire world. Kicking off in February, the core One World Under Doom book is a 9-issue series from Fantastic Four writer Ryan North and Powers of 10 artist R.B. Silva. That series will show the Avengers regrouping and rallying to stop Doom, even as they grapple with the fact that a great many people in the Marvel Universe are happier living under Doom's rule. We'll also see this status quo play out in a number of other spin-off series and ongoing comics, including North's Fantastic Four, Joe Kelly's The Amazing Spider-Man, and many more. Marvel will also continue to bet big on the new Ultimate Universe in 2025. January will see the debut of Chris Condon and Alessandro Cappuccio's Ultimate Wolverine, which takes its place alongside other ongoing Ultimate books like Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, and The Ultimates. The Ultimate line will also experience its first major crossover event in summer 2025. There are other big storylines worth keeping an eye on as 2025 begins. Marvel is poised to launch all-new Venom, a series that pairs the symbiote with a brand new host, even as Eddie Brock himself becomes the new Carnage. Look for plenty of big developments in the X-Men line as Marvel continues to launch new titles as part of the From the Ashes storyline and builds towards a major crossover later in the year. And finally, Sam Wilson is getting a new monthly series tied to the release of Captain America: Brave New World, where he'll once again be suiting up as Captain America, battling the Red Hulk. Those are the highlights that we know about in 2025. If we missed anything, let us know down in the comments. And for all things Marvel, stay right here on IGN.